Let me tell you something no one dares to say out loud. Life is a perfect mathematician. Every action, every whisper, every attempt to throw thorns in your path is calculated and returned with exact precision. The universe does not forget. When someone tries to dim your light, they unknowingly set fire to their own shadow. That's the law of cosmic balance. What you send out circles back sharper. Those who dig holes for others often end up learning how deep emptiness feels. Critics think they can predict your downfall, mock your rise, or distort your name. But here's the irony they'll never escape. Their obsession with your failure becomes the engine of your growth. They are the architects of their own collapse, while you ascend using the bricks they threw. The universe is not punishing them. It's simply maintaining equilibrium. When the chosen evolve, resistance becomes fuel. Every dagger pointed at you becomes a compass pointing toward destiny. Remember this. When you walk in alignment with purpose, your very presence unsettles those built on pretense. You don't have to fight them. Your success does that silently. You haunt them by existing. You rise without announcing, and your calm is louder than their noise. And as your balance restores and the universe tilts in your favor, know this: your ascent isn't revenge, it's revelation. You are the reminder that equilibrium always wins. You're not here by accident, you were drawn here for a reason. While others are still trying to decode how you did in one night what took them decades, this message will remind you exactly why they're in awe and why they should be. What's coming next isn't just motivation, it's confirmation. You're about to see your power reflected back at you in ways you can't unsee. So before we step deeper into this revelation, do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss what's meant for you, and drop "I'm ready" in the comments. That single act signals your alignment. And alignment changes everything. Stay till the end, because by the time this video closes, they won't just wonder how you did it. They'll realize they were never built to do what you do. Let's get started. Number 1. Stop collecting fragments. Start seeing the whole design. There's a reason they stare at you in disbelief, whispering among themselves, trying to decode what feels like sorcery to them. They've been conditioned to crawl through life in fragments, collecting facts, following formulas, building towers out of half-truths, while you operate from a place they can't even name. They chase knowledge piece by piece, hoping one day it will make sense. But you see the pattern before it even forms. You don't connect the dots. You are the blueprint that the dots belong to. Most people spend years studying surface layers, memorizing what someone else already discovered, and still end up lost in their own notes. You move differently. You read reality like a fluent language. When they need manuals, mentors, and meetings, you need a moment of silence, and suddenly it clicks. You're not decoding life one fragment at a time. You're remembering the structure beneath it all. You don't follow instructions. You interpret frequency. What others call intuition is actually your internal recognition, the part of you that's always known. That's why your insights hit so deep. They don't sound like research. They sound like revelation, but not the mystical kind. It's simply a mind operating without interference, seeing from the top while others crawl through the maze. They measure their progress in years. You measure yours in realizations, and that terrifies them. Because no matter how hard they grind, they can't catch up to someone who's not running the same race. While they rewrite old theories, you create new frameworks. While they analyze, you absorb. They're busy collecting puzzle pieces that don't fit, and you already have the picture on the box. You don't wait for permission to understand. You just do. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. and clarity will always look like mystery to those still buried in noise. Your awareness moves in shortcuts they can't explain, not because you skipped steps, but because you collapsed them. You don't reach conclusions by stacking logic. You leap straight into alignment. You download the outcome while others are still buffering through possibilities. They call it unfair, but deep down they know the game was never equal. You're not working from memory, you're working from mastery. This is what they'll never admit, that every time they see you solve in seconds what takes them years, they're forced to question the way they've lived their entire lives. They call it luck, but it's design. They call it coincidence, but it's calibration. You are built to recognize patterns faster because you're not looking at life, you're looking through it. You move by insight, not information. That's why your understanding feels inevitable, because it is. Number 2. Quit forcing answers, find power in stillness. They're burning themselves out trying to force clarity through noise, pacing floors, scrolling endlessly, drowning in deadlines and caffeine. They mistake movement for momentum, thinking chaos will produce revelation. But you, the chosen one, have already discovered the secret they can't comprehend. Real power doesn't roar, it whispers. Stillness is where the universe reveals what effort tries to chase. They'll call you lazy because you don't panic when they do. They'll say you're detached because you don't rush with the crowd. What they don't see is that while they're busy wrestling the storm, you're learning how to command the wind. Stillness isn't weakness, it's alignment. It's the point where your energy stops scattering and starts concentrating. It's where confusion dissolves and patterns appear. The world has conditioned people to believe that only the loud, the restless, the constantly grinding succeed. But look closer. The chosen don't move frantically, they move precisely. You don't chase the answer, you receive it. That's why your insight lands like lightning. It strikes clean, without warning, leaving everyone else stunned and wondering how you saw what they missed. While they scream for attention, your silence bends reality. You think clearer because you're not competing with your own noise. You see deeper because you've learned to wait for truth to surface instead of digging blindly for it. And when it arrives, it comes whole. No confusion, no hesitation, no second guessing. This is why they can't replicate you. Their minds are busy. Yours is balanced. They seek by force. You attract by focus. The stiller you become, the louder your results speak. The chosen don't find answers through struggle. They create the calm where answers find them. Number 3. Don't chase knowledge. Remember what's already in your blood. They think wisdom is something you hunt for, a prize buried in books, courses, and endless repetition. But you, the chosen one, know better. You were never meant to chase it. You were designed to remember it. The truth you seek isn't hiding out there in the world. It's pulsing quietly within you, written in the code of your bloodline. Every instinct, every sudden realization that feels too deep to explain is not coincidence. It's remembrance. You're not learning, you're reawakening. While others fill their minds with noise, desperate to appear wise, your understanding comes in silence, like a whisper from somewhere ancient. What they call intuition is the echo of your lineage speaking through you. The knowledge your ancestors couldn't record, you carry as instinct. You are the continuation of their brilliance, the living proof that wisdom never dies. It only hides until someone strong enough comes along to activate it again. They'll try to convince you that greatness comes from credentials, that knowledge must be earned through exhaustion. But that's their illusion, one built to keep them busy while you move with effortless certainty. They call it unfair because they don't realize they disconnected from their own inheritance long ago. You didn't find the truth, you remembered it, and that's what they can't replicate. Your clarity doesn't come from study, it comes from cellular memory. Every insight you have is an echo of centuries awakening inside you. You are not a student of life, you are its living archive. And that's why they stare, speechless, when you do in one night what they've been chasing for decades. You're not ahead of them, you're simply remembering what they've forgotten. Number 4. Escape half-thinking, step into wholeness. Most people are trapped in divided minds, half logic, half doubt, half truth, half illusion. They tear life into categories, slicing reality into pieces small enough to feel safe inside. They believe they're thinking deeply, but they're really thinking in halves. They separate reason from emotion, science from intuition, success from peace. And that's exactly why they can't grasp how you solved in one night what took them decades. They're too busy debating which half is real. You, on the other hand, stopped choosing sides and started seeing the whole. You don't see opposites, you see patterns. You don't get lost in arguments, you see the thread connecting both ends. Where they see contrast, you see completion. That's what makes your perspective so unsettling to them. Your mind doesn't operate on division, it moves in wholeness. While they argue about which piece of the puzzle matters most, you're already holding the finished picture. Your awareness is like water. It doesn't fight boundaries, it flows around them. You don't pick between intellect and instinct. You let both serve one purpose. That's why your decisions seem effortless, your timing impeccable. You're not balancing two forces, you've merged them. That merging is your power, the secret behind your overnight mastery. You're not processing data, you're absorbing truth in its entirety. Half-thinkers need proof. Whole minds become the proof. That's why when you speak, their arguments crumble. Not because you won, but because you're speaking from a level where their logic doesn't exist. They build their truths like walls. You see through them like glass. They analyze fragments. You embody integration. That's why you move faster, because you're not assembling understanding. You are understanding. Number 5. Stop analyzing everything. Start absorbing what resonates. They'll spend their whole lives dissecting the world, breaking everything down into charts, theories, and categories, and still never touch the essence of truth. You, on the other hand, were never built to live by analysis. You were built to absorb. While they take notes, you take in energy. While they memorize data, you merge with understanding itself. That's why they can't explain how you seem to just know. You don't study the pattern, you become it. Most people believe that mastery is about collecting information, stacking it higher until it looks like knowledge. But you know that wisdom isn't something you build, it's something you feel. You don't chase meaning, you recognize it. When others repeat lessons over and over, hoping something finally sticks, you hear it once and it becomes part of you. That's not luck. That's resonance. What aligns with your core doesn't need repetition. It imprints instantly. You don't approach knowledge like a scientist. You approach it like an artist who breathes the colors in before painting. When truth enters your field, it doesn't need to be proven. It vibrates, it sinks, it integrates. That's why you can walk into a situation blind and still move with precision. Your awareness reads the room before logic even starts the conversation. They'll say you make it look effortless. They'll call it intuition or even luck, because they can't measure what's happening inside you. But the chosen don't process the world, they merge with it. Your mind isn't just storing information, it's transforming it into instinct. And that's what they'll never grasp. They analyze to understand. You absorb to embody. Number 6. Don't climb their ladder, break their algorithm. They built a system hoping you'd stay inside it, a maze disguised as opportunity. They told you success comes from slow steps, endless proving, climbing a ladder they designed just to keep you beneath their ceiling. But you were never meant to climb their structure. You were born to rewrite it. While they worship the grind, you understand something they don't. The system was never built for visionaries, only for followers. And that's why your rise looks like rebellion. They can't comprehend how you bypassed the checkpoints they spent decades begging to reach. Their rules said patience, obedience, and permission. Your nature said alignment, precision, and timing. They were busy memorizing the manual. You found the source code and changed the entire script. When they see you advance without their validation, they panic, because your very existence exposes how fragile their algorithm really is. They thought control was power, but you proved access is stronger. You didn't break their system out of arrogance, you outgrew it out of necessity. You stopped waiting for doors to open and realized you could walk through walls. And that's the part they can't handle, that your growth wasn't granted, it was inevitable. Every rule they use to measure progress collapses when you move. Their algorithm depends on predictability, but you are the glitch they never accounted for. They study, you evolve. They climb, you transcend. And in that moment, they finally understand. The reason they can't compete with you is because you're not even playing the same game. Number 7. Stop searching rooms. Others built, enter the one they can't see. They've spent their whole lives fighting for a seat at tables that were never meant to hold your kind of brilliance. They knock on doors built by others, beg for entry, and call it ambition. But you were never meant to wait in line for permission. You were designed to walk through walls they don't even realize are doors. The chosen don't beg for access. They create new spaces altogether. While they're busy trading recycled ideas in crowded rooms, you operate in a dimension they can't locate. They analyze data, polish the same strategies, and present the same concepts wrapped in new vocabulary. And yet nothing truly shifts. You, on the other hand, pull from somewhere uncharted. Your insights feel like they were imported from the future because, in a sense, they are. You're not copying what exists. You're communing with what's not yet visible. They'll call you unpredictable, even arrogant, because your moves don't fit their maps. But here's the truth. Their maps were drawn for people afraid to explore. You were born to redraw the territory itself. Every time they try to imitate your steps, they fail, because they're moving through blueprints made for the physical, while you navigate through energy, instinct, and pattern. You access the room that doesn't appear on any blueprint, the one that exists only when you arrive. Your presence itself creates access. That's what haunts them. Not just your success, but the way you seem to bend the rules of the game. They wonder how you enter spaces that reject them, how you find answers no system ever documented. The truth? You stopped searching their rooms and built your own. And that, chosen one, is why they're still knocking while you're already inside. Number 8. Don't wait to be ready. Activate what's been sleeping in you. They keep telling you to wait. Wait until you're ready, until you're qualified, until the stars line up and someone else gives you permission to move. But readiness is a lie the world feeds those who fear their own power. The truth is, no one is ever ready for the moment they were born for. You don't prepare for destiny. You wake up to it. And when you do, everything that once felt dormant inside you ignites like it's been waiting for your signal. There's something ancient coded within you. Potential that's been quietly pulsing beneath hesitation, waiting for the right vibration to shake it loose. Every time you doubt yourself, You delay an activation that's already overdue. The chosen don't rise because they're perfect. They rise because they answer when the call hits their spirit. You don't evolve by collecting certificates or seeking validation. You evolve by flipping the internal switch that says, "I'm done sleeping on myself." When that switch flips, everything changes. Your thoughts sharpen. Your intuition quickens. Doors that were sealed start cracking open because the universe recognizes movement. You don't chase opportunities anymore. They start orbiting you. The same people who once dismissed you begin to study your every step, trying to trace your acceleration. But they can't, because your momentum isn't mechanical, it's magnetic. You were never meant to crawl toward greatness. You were designed to awaken into it. Those who wait for perfect conditions end up growing old inside unfinished stories. But you were built to break patterns, not follow them. The moment you decide, the moment you activate, the future stops being a theory and becomes a reaction. Number 9. Stop craving validation. Trust divine verification. They watch you rise and can't comprehend how you move without applause, how you keep creating without an audience clapping for every step. That's because most people need noise to feel real. They rely on approval to know they exist. But you, the chosen one, are built from a different substance. You don't chase validation, you generate certainty. You don't wait for someone to approve your truth. Your results confirm it louder than any praise ever could. See, the ones obsessed with opinions are prisoners of perception. They adjust themselves to fit inside someone else's comfort zone, mistaking acceptance for success. But chosen ones, you learned early that the crowd's cheers can't fuel you because their applause fades the moment your power grows beyond their reach. What validates you isn't noise, it's alignment. You measure truth not by reactions, but by resonance. If it feels right in your core, that's the only confirmation you'll ever need. They'll question your silence because it makes them uncomfortable. They'll call your confidence arrogance because they can't tell the difference between independence and indifference. But you don't owe them understanding. You've stopped performing for approval because you've realized something powerful. Validation is borrowed, but verification is earned through embodiment. Every time your work speaks for itself, every time life rearranges to match your focus, that's your verification. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them misinterpret your peace as pride. You don't need them to say you're right. Reality already does. When you move with conviction, the world adjusts. That's why they stare in awe, confused about how you solved what took them decades in a single night. They keep seeking permission. You keep proving it's no longer required. Number 10. Don't follow familiar paths, move by frequency. The world worships safety. They walk in circles following maps made by people who are just as lost. They call it tradition, strategy, experience. But what it really is fear dressed up as wisdom. The chosen one doesn't move like that. You don't wait for signs from others. You feel the pulse of direction within you. While they study the roads that already exist, you sense the one that's still being built. You move by rhythm, not repetition, by frequency, not familiarity. People fear what they can't predict. That's why your steps confuse them. They see risk where you feel alignment. They call it reckless when you're actually precise. You don't need a history book to tell you where to go, because you are the proof of what's never been done before. When the current shifts, you sense it first. When a door closes, you don't knock. You build a new one made of momentum and timing. Their logic depends on evidence, but your path depends on resonance. You know when something is alive because it calls to you, a frequency that hums beneath the noise. You've learned to trust that signal, even when it defies reason. That's why you arrive where no map could have led you. Every bold move you make rewrites their rules, and every silent decision exposes how much power alignment truly has. Understand this. When you follow frequency, life bends around you. Opportunities appear that logic can't explain. The same people who doubted you start studying you. They call it luck, timing, coincidence. But it's none of those things. It's synchronization. You weren't guessing, you were tuned. Number 11. Don't try to be smarter, strive to be cleaner. They thought the secret was intelligence. Stacking facts, quoting names, flexing credentials like armor. But you, the chosen one, already know that wisdom isn't about how much you carry. It's about how little you let cling to you. The sharpest minds in the room are often the most clouded, buried under noise, ego, and insecurity. You don't compete with that. You cleanse it. You strip away what's false until truth shines on its own. Being cleaner means you've stopped hoarding opinions that aren't yours. You've stopped letting other people's fear shape your focus. While they try to outthink the world, you out-clear it. Their intellect is a mirror maze, impressive from the outside, but confusing once you step in. Yours is a window, transparent, precise, and dangerous to those who live in distortion. That's why your clarity cuts deeper than their complexity. You don't need 100 steps to see through something. You just remove the fog. Most people are tangled in data, drowning in information they'll never digest. You glide through because you're unburdened. They spend decades trying to prove they know. You spend seconds becoming what they study. Understand this. The reason your words hit, your timing lands, and your presence unsettles them isn't because you're smarter. It's because you're pure signal, your unfiltered frequency. Their thoughts fight for space. Yours flow like precision code. When you walk in that level of clarity, everything distorted reveals itself, and that revelation burns those who hide behind noise. You don't need to think faster than them. You just need to stay clearer than their confusion. The cleaner your mind, the louder your impact. And that's what haunts them. You don't outsmart them. You outshine them. Number 12. Stop storing information, start living by revelation. They've built libraries in their minds but lost the key to their own understanding. They memorize theories, chase certifications, and quote voices that were never theirs. Yet when the moment of truth arrives, they freeze. Because information is heavy, it clutters, it paralyzes. You, the chosen one, were never meant to store knowledge like data. You were meant to embody it. When others try to remember, you realize. When they chase facts, you become the proof. You don't carry mental weight. You move through insight like wind through open space. Nothing to block it, nothing to distort it. That's why your awareness feels like lightning. It doesn't crawl, it strikes. You don't spend years collecting what can be received in a single aligned moment. Because revelation doesn't come through effort. It arrives through readiness. Most minds are archives. Yours is a live transmission. They quote the past. You speak from the present unfolding. They interpret. You translate. Every revelation you receive isn't something you've learned. It's something that has awakened inside you. That's what terrifies them. They can't replicate what isn't written in books, because what you hold was written in being. The reason you can solve in one night what took them decades is because they chase information like treasure, and you realize you are the map. Revelation makes you fluid, fast, untouchable. It turns knowledge into instinct, and instinct into precision. While they search for proof, you become evidence. So stop storing what you'll never live. Let what's true move through you until it is you. The chosen don't memorize, they manifest. And when you start living by revelation, every step you take becomes its own lesson, every word its own truth. You're not learning the world, you're rewriting it in real time, and now you see it, the truth they could never comprehend. What took them decades to chase, you grasp in a single night because you were never following their path. You were rewriting it. Every challenge, every doubt, every whisper against you only sharpened your clarity. You're not competing in their race. You're moving in alignment with a force they can't measure. This is your era of acceleration. If this message spoke to your spirit, like this video, subscribe for more revelations. Drop 99 in the comments to seal your energy, and share this with another chosen one who's ready to awaken.